After Effects, and we're going to take a look at how to get this effect, which is a inlaid look on wood, stone, brick, and how we can get this look to match like something is imprinted or inlaid on any kind of a background. And we're just going to talk about how we can get that effect and how we can get it to look the way we want it to look. And without any further ado, let's just go ahead and hop in it. So a lot of people probably are wondering, how can we get this inline look that I have here, and how do I mask out, or how do I get that detail, say, in text or in shapes, so that it matches the background that I'm in. Taking that step even further, how is it that I get this text or other shapes to look like it's painted on a wooden background or a stone brick wall background? In Photoshop, there's a lot of many ways of doing it, but when you get into After Effects, it doesn't operate the same way. Naturally, because you got two different programs, and After Effects just doesn't interact with alpha images like white text or black text like Photoshop does. So when you come into After Effects, you would think maybe there are some similarities in how to make this effect work, and in some cases there are. But in this particular example, we're dealing with white text, and sometimes this can be rather troublesome. Now, some of you might be learning how to use blend modes within After Effects. Maybe you know about the blend modes in Photoshop. But in this particular case, because what we're going to be working with today is going to be white, meaning it is a true alpha channel. It doesn't have any color. Some of those blend modes are not going to work necessarily with our background. So what we have to do is we have to find a way to work around that to get the texture on our text or our alpha images, these white images, to where they will match up with our wooden background here in the back. And if you can see it, once I click it back on, it matches perfectly, and we got the breaks in the wood, we got some of the grain in the wood as well. It just looks like someone got a paintbrush and just kind of just scraped over it. So we're going to take a look at how to do that today. So the first thing we need to do is open a new composition. You can do, let's see here, let's just do 1080, hit OK. And then what you need to do is just grab any kind of a wood texture, high res, and just plop it on there and scale it up. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to just type a word here, and we're going to put hello. And let's just get that guy real big. There we go. Let's get him in the middle there. Let's do title action. Get him right there where we want him. Alrighty. Now, like I said, in Photoshop, if this text were a logo and it had perhaps some color to it, some of the things you guys would do probably would be like use the blend mode of multiply. But as you can see, that is very troublesome for the main reason. Multiply is typically works very well with images that have white in them, as opposed to being completely white. What multiply does is it makes it transferable onto the surface that's underneath, or the layer that it is underneath, and gives it the impression that it's overlaid on it, or that it got painted on or something like that. Well, that doesn't work, like I said, because our text is completely white. So we have to figure out some other way of getting that to work. And one of the ways that we're going to do it is we're going to use our background layer, our texture, this the wooden background, as our map or our mat to get the grunge look that we want. So what we need to do is just click on your texture, whatever one you have, just duplicate it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put it on top, okay, and then we're going to solo it. Then what you need to do is come up here to Effects and go to Obsolete, and I'm in Adobe After Effects CC, the Creative Cloud. So go to Obsolete, go to Luma key. Now this is what we need to pay attention to and understand. we're going to be keying out these things. So when I go to the threshold and I just, start messing with the effects here, you're going to notice because it's wood, it already kind of gives us that, that kind of grain feeling as we bump up the threshold. So, but the key thing here is we want to key out the darker channels. And the reason we want to key out the darker channels is because the dark in this texture represent the deep parts. And as you know, in real life, a paintbrush or spray paint, most of the time it doesn't always fill the cracks perfectly, leaving it that, that painted on or that really rough or grungy look to the paint. And so what we're going to do is we're going to amplify the darker channels in the text right here, like the slots, maybe some of the darker grain spots. And that's what we're going to use as our outline for our text. So I'm going to bump it up to, I don't know, say about, let's just do 132. And then what I'm going to do is, since my text is underneath my texture, I'm going to go to my track modes, and from no track matte, I'm going to go to Luma matte, and then there we go. We already see kind of close of what we want. We can see underneath. We can see some of the darker, the cracks are visible, and it looks like this got spray painted on, or perhaps painted on. But then there's something more that we can do here. So there's a little more that we can do to get the effect more of what we want. Click back on your wood texture and then go to effects, go to color correction, and then go to levels. And then this is where we can accent the effect even further. So in our levels, what we want to do, this is just where you just play with it. Just bring the darker channel over a little more, and then we can just boost open the white channel. And what that's going to do is that's going to increase the opacity to where we can still see the bottom of, the wood underneath, but it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look like we just overlaid it. What we're doing is we're just creating more of the illusion that it was like stenciled on there. So for example, let's take it off. There it is. Now we're just making it a little brighter. And this is the cool thing about this effect is if you're using the same texture as your background that you're using for your matte right here, what you can do, is you can select both the text or image and the texture that you're using, select them both. You can go to layer, you can go pre-compose, you can move all attributes, call it whatever name you want, hit OK, and now it totally doesn't mess up your composition whatsoever. In fact, what you can do is just double click inside of that. There is your alpha matte. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? There you go. And you can see what the texture, because we're using a track matte, okay? We're using a Luma matte. You can see what the Luma matte is doing and how it's using the wood texture to alter this text, this white alpha text, to where it's given us the illusion that it got stenciled on there, maybe with some with this airbrush or whatever you call those things, a spray painter. And the cool thing about it too is this is totally non-destructive. You can you can change your text. It's not going to change. It's not going to hurt anything. You can go back into your comp, and there you go. Except if you want to move this comp, it's going to look a little messed up. So what you're going to have to do is just go back into the comp and then move it right there, and then it will, adjust accordingly. So just something for you to think about. Just a cool little trick. Just something that I just had in my mind while I was doing some work for a client. Figured this would be a cool little short tutorial for you. And here, let's duplicate our text. Oops. Let's do this. We can just go down here. And the cool thing is you can duplicate this, right? And then what you can do is scooch it down. We can do that. See? And we can go goodbye. And just kind of mess with it here. And again, this works with shapes. This works with text. And anything that you think you can use, it will work. And then boom, there it is, transferable. Same example, like I said, we could do shapes if you wanted to. Let's create a new composition. Let's make it 1080 by 1080. Oops. New composition and 1080. Hit OK. Let's go to shape. Let's do, I don't know, let's just do a normal shape. Call that there. And let's duplicate this again. Okay. But instead, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the text. We're going to go into our projects folder. We're going to go into comp 2. We're going to put it underneath the wood texture. See, there it is. And we're going to do the Luma matte again. And then there you go. You can see the square right there. And here we go. And now you just made yourself a little logo right there. So you can see it's really cool. It's a really fun trick. And if you want to make this even pop even a little bit more, we can go to color correction on the background layer. And then what we can do is we can go to levels. We can just darken it up a little bit, increase that a little, and now we can see this a little more. So hey, hopefully this quick little tutorial helped you out. Maybe this trick can help you out with some cool things that you want to do. And hey, thanks for tuning in again. And this is Rich Aguilar, and I'll catch all of you guys later. Bye.